So Kenton said he had this idea that he just had to tell me about. And Kenton always had these big ideas, so I knew, here we go.
I was in Nairobi, living at a small orphanage.
One day, a little girl next to me had shoes that were just way too small.
I remember looking down and being absolutely shocked.
And kind of spur of the moment, I thought, what if there was a shoe that could adjust and expand?
Because Internationals.
The shoe that grows. The shoe that grows. The first project for Lee's nonprofit.
A shoe that grows right along with the kid.
So Kenton and I have been best friends basically our whole lives. Our story in so many ways starts as just a couple of kids living in Idaho and growing up together. But after graduating from college, that is where our lives diverged for over a year. Kenton decided to travel. One of those stops was in Kenya. Once he got back, I got a call from Kenton and he told me that we had a lot of things to catch up about. Showed me some sketches and some journal entries, and specifically I remember one sketch in particular that he had put together with this idea for how a shoe could grow. That was my role. I was the guy he could call up, that we could get together, we could talk about the idea. I was very much focused just on transitioning from college to career. I was fortunate to find a job at what was then a small software startup. And that was fun, especially in those early years. I was there almost 8 years. And then something else major happened with the shoe.
The nonprofit is giving new meaning to an old saying, if the shoe fits, wear it.
The shoe is the thing, as they say.
The shoe that grows.
The shoes that can grow along with kids for up to 5 years.
That's when he came up with an idea. Footwear that grows with a child.
When kids have shoes that fit, they stay healthy.
He would just, Google Kenton's name or do like a Google News search on the shoe, and so many more sources seemed like they were being added daily across that short 3 or 4 day span. So when Kenton first contacted me, it was kind of, this is exciting, but also this is a bit of an emergency. I floated an idea by him. What if you had someone else to come alongside you? What if it was me? I think so many people are looking for adventure in their lives, and to be able to do something meaningful alongside someone that means a lot to me, it doesn't get much better than that. So the early shoes, I remember how excited Kenton was when he got the first samples and sent those to me, showed them to me. And at the same time, it's easy for me to look back so many versions and iterations so many years ago and talk about all the problems with that first design. And this is always the tension with anyone who's creating anything. How can you get a level of comfort with that first iteration so that you can get it out there, so you can get feedback, so you can see how it performs, so that you can learn? And that was our focus, as painful as it was to see the shoes fail in certain cases. We were able to make the shoes so much better, and yet still, I knew there was so much more that could be done and needed to be done in order to go from hundreds of thousands of pairs distributed to millions of pairs. So the whole team was in Kenya the fall of 2023, and that's when, and I'll never forget this, driving out to a remote shoe distribution location, and we were talking about this. We were talking about some of these design limitations. And some design breakthroughs really were starting to come into the conversation, but it would require us to start from scratch with a brand new version of the shoe. And it took over a year and a half and lots of sleepless nights and international travel and lots of blood, sweat, and tears in many ways. But this new design is now a reality. Cutting the production price in half, quadrupling our production capacity, and now we are more excited than ever before to go from hundreds of thousands of pairs to millions of pairs distributed. providing health, dignity, and access to education.